Going on, everybody? Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We're gonna get
Wow.
the copyright because you said that so
Well, I try. But nevertheless, we are here. We are live for the Charlotte Vibe. I'm Andre Cassidy. That is Chris Jenkins. And we're both feeling pretty good right now.
You're feeling even better.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty energetic right now.
I think this may not be your last home game.
With the way that they're playing right now, I think we still have one in us.
Yeah?
I think so. With the way things are going, and if the good forces above allow it to fall into place, we may very well be here in a couple of weeks for a playoff game. Who knows? But I don't want to get too far ahead. We still have a game to talk about, right?
Well, did you say the final score?
I did not, but the final score was Carolina 37, Detroit 23. So we gave up more than 17 points, and we still found a way to win, which we couldn't do. Yeah, for the second time this season, which we weren't able to do under the Matt Rule era. But I don't want to name drop because this is the season of giving. This is Christmas Eve. Positive vibes, positive spirits, and a game that Carolina needed, and they found a way to get it done today.
In record fashion.
In record fashion. I mean, there were so many records broken today, and we'll get into that later in the show. But it was a record-setting performance in the air, on the ground, total yardage today. I mean, they really made Detroit's defense look like some Swiss cheese today.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna break this down, and you see me looking down a few times, so making sure that my mic is working because I'm not used to being hands-free in this situation. But let me tell you, I love it. I love it. So.
It is a freedom that I don't know yet, but hopefully soon, when we get big, maybe we'll have one for me too. Maybe, right?
He's dropping hints on me right now. But we're going to go ahead and break down this game for you. And guess what? Because this is the last home game, because we're starting to feel good about this team, we got some victories consecutive. Not today.
Yeah, not today.
We've experienced some. Like, it just has a different feel. So normally post-game shows, it's just Andre and I reading your comments. But today, we're going to invite you on the show. So that's normally something we only do on Mondays. But we're going to do it today. So I haven't put the link out there yet. But those watching, continue to watch. Continue to leave your comments for those that are, TV shy. But the others, we go live to interact with you. So we want to hear the pulse of what everybody's feeling right now. I'm feeling good. Andre's really
I'm feeling
happy.
Great.
I'm happy that next week in Tampa will mean something regardless of the outcome. But let's go ahead and get into the post-game show. Andre, we had a few injuries that took place today. So what were those injuries and what updates do we have? Even though I know they're going to be limited, he doesn't tell us much.
There were a lot of key ones. Well, there was really one key one, but there was two in mind that come immediately to this big old brain of mine that's up here. J.C. Horn was really the first one that really stung, right? He had a great game today. I mean, he had a couple of moments where, he gave up a couple big plays, right? But he has had a great year, and to see him go down in the fashion in which he did today, it looks like it's a wrist injury. That was immediately what he grabbed for after the play ended. And from what I'm hearing, and this is just kind of just from what I've seen on Twitter, it doesn't sound particularly the best. So we're going to have more updates on that as the cup, really over the next coming days. So that's still something that we'll have to wait and see when we get more info about that. And then Shi Smith is.
Did he? Excuse my ignorance. Did he come back after that hit?
No, they took him immediately to the blue tent. So
he never came back onto the field.
He never came back onto the field. So, I mean, it sucks for one, right? Because he's our best corner. I mean, that's undoubtedly the case. So that's a big hole that Carolina's going to have to fill moving forward. But he just got back from an injury where he was out for the whole year in his rookie season. So it's just one of those things where you hate to see it because he is really rounding into form and has become already Carolina's best corner.
Yeah, and something that I noticed on that play, it's funny because sometimes you go to see stuff happening.
Yeah.
And as the guy, as JC was playing the cover of the guy, I saw another guy from the Panthers coming to help him. And you kind of saw this collision right here was going to happen. And JC was on the inside. And as soon as they connected and JC kind of was slow, I was thinking he probably kind of got hit by his own guy.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, so I feel like from the way that impact came, and then JC was hurt, that it could be something significant.
Yeah, and we're crossing our fingers that it was just a minor injury, but just from the looks of it, from off in a distance, it did not look particularly favorable for him. So hopefully things do work in his favor. But again, we'll continue to update his condition when needed. And another guy that we were talking about too earlier in the game, Shi Smith, was injured after, I believe it was a punt return, right?
It was.
Yeah, where he muffed it, I believe, or he fumbled the return, and then he took a hard hit, I believe, after the play. So that's another guy that, is needed, but also at the same time he has received some criticism for the way that he has played at that particular spot. So that's another guy and another player that is going to be, it's going to be missed in some aspects because he does provide depth at the receiving core. He's been on and off this season, but he's still somebody that is valued on this Panthers team.
Okay. So Shi Smith and J.C. Horn were the two injuries for today.
Yeah, and then there were a couple scuffles with Deontay Foreman. He had to jog off of the field. I believe it was in the third quarter, but it just appeared to be some sort of cramping deal because he was hobbling, and he was able to return on the next drive. But there was some moments of concern whenever he walked off the field. Seemed a little gimpy at first, but he was able to return to the game and played pretty well for the rest of the game as well.
Okay. So
I think the cold is getting us, man, because it's getting me too.
And I wish I kind of did have my other mic because it has a mute button that's easier to hit. But
yeah.
Hey, and notice you can see my wire. I didn't have a chance to hide it before the game. I'm sorry. Don't get on me. But today we won, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And that continues to put us in a very good position to control our own fate, our own destiny, if you will, for the playoff picture. So let's go ahead and take a look at that playoff picture right now. As it stands, Tampa Bay is yet to play.
They play tomorrow.
They play tomorrow night. But as Andre alluded to in the pregame show, it doesn't matter, but I just feel like you still want to know. You still want that extra comfort of maybe we got an edge on Tampa Bay. But nevertheless, we control our own destiny. But here's the current picture. Tampa Bay still 6-8. They play tomorrow night. Carolina Panthers are 6-9 after winning today. The New Orleans Saints took on the Cleveland Browns.
And they won.
They were victorious
17-10.
That match. And look at this. Look closely on this screen. It took a while. It took a 5-10 record, but the Atlanta Falcons are officially eliminated from playoff contention. Can you believe that? 5-10, they're officially eliminated?
I think they already knew mentally in their minds that they had no realistic shot of getting in there, despite the fact that they were still like a game or two out from first place.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start Desmond Ridder in that situation, you kind of knew that they weren't really trying to compete for that spot. And it doesn't help that Marcus Mariota, before he got hurt, wasn't really playing his best ball, too. But, I think finally we could say that there's an eliminated team in probably the worst division in football right now. I mean, who would have thought that we would have 4 teams under 500 starting today that still had a chance of making the playoffs? And then now we're starting to have a clearer picture. But at the beginning of today, they all still had a chance of making it. So, I mean, it just shows you how important divisional play is, and also shows you how poor the NFC South is as well.
It does. And one thing, so our Panthers record, let me put this back up here, 6-9. Last time we had 6 victories? We had 3 consecutive seasons of 5 wins. Even when we expanded into a 17-game season,
which was last year.
Wins. So congratulations to you, interim coach Steve Wilkes. I guess I could say David Tepper too, because he's the owner.
Right.
I want him to. No, I'm not going to say that. But congratulations, Steve Wilkes. We now have 6 wins, our most in 3 seasons. We are now if we get to 7, we'll be pretty good. That'll be our second best record since the 15-1 season. So good thing.
Seriously. Wow.
Yeah, it's been terrible. It's easy to get super excited about where this Carolina Panthers team is right now and Coach Steve Wilkes. So let's go ahead, and again, I'm going to I see a lot of good comments, so keep those comments coming. I just glanced at the screen and see some funny-looking stuff behind us on the TV, but commercials.
I didn't even notice that until you said that.
But let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this game. Again, we're going to post a link here in just a second for you all to join us. We want to hear from you. We really do. We want to know, like, are you excited as we are? Are you not excited? What are you feeling? So we're going to open up the video lines, not the phone lines.
The video lines.
In just a second. And also, we're going to ask a favor. Hit the like button. Please, I want you guys to get in this habit. Every single time you watch a video, hit the like button. We need that to continue to grow and have access to these players and things that we do. The bigger we grow, the more that we can do. And hit the subscribe button as well. And you know what? I got to say it. We're independently run organization supported by your donations. So
yes.
hey,
oh,
please,
yes.
Super chats always are welcome to do so if you are able to do so we can continue to do what we do.
In the effort of the season of giving as well, as we are here on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
The holiday spirit is full and lively all throughout this building right now. There's a lot of festivities and a lot of festive-looking people today.
It is.
So in the efforts of the holiday spirit, from us to you, again, thank you for everything that you do for us here at the Charlotte Vibe.
Yeah, let's go ahead and break down some of these. Oh, look at that. We got some.
Oh, man.
But I think I know how to hit the button to ban them. Maybe I don't. Maybe I forgot how to do it. So,
Jeez.
Sam's going to come in. Actually, you might get. I'll take care of that Sam in just a second. But let's go ahead and talk about some of this performance from today. Sam, I am Darnold. Let me. Why are you looking at me like that?
I never thought there'd be a day, man. I didn't think you would think that there would be a day where we would be talking about Sam Darnold in the way that we are right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is 4 games.
I haven't said nothing about Sam yet, though.
But I know you're thinking it. I know you are thinking it. 4 games. No interceptions. No turnovers. Chris, that is, again, something I never thought I would be saying about this guy right now because he is a very turnover-prone quarterback. But with the way that Steve Wilkes and Ben McAdoo have been able to formulate the offense around Sam and really prioritize in the run game, it has made it easier for Sam Darnold to just play and be the quarterback and just be the bus driver to the bus. And, really has just been remarkable how well he has played. And it also helps that the offensive line has really stepped up their performance over these past couple of weeks. Of course, the outlier was last week where they didn't have their best game against Pittsburgh's D-line. But really, over the course of the season, it's just been...
I got to talk about the stats. This guy,
I'm excited. I'm sorry.
Let me go about the stats.
Go ahead, man.
I love you. I'll get on you later. Let me put the stats. You like Sam Darnold and know how good he's playing. All right. Let me go ahead and talk about these stats for Sam, and then I'll give you the floor back to the man, Andre Cassidy. Sam Darnold today was 15 of 22, 250 yards. So not only is Sam doing a good job of connecting, he's getting the ball down the field a little bit further than he has been, with some help with Terrace Marshall. We're going to go over his stats here in just a second. Almost 300-yard game. Can I say that? I can say that.
Right. 1
touchdown, and as Andre's talked about, as Coach Steve Wilkes talked about, 0 interceptions over 4 games. Absolutely, positively, unequivocally, that's my biggest word.
Wow.
Gives you a great chance to win. And his passer rating, 121.4, and also that stat line there, shouts out to the offensive line. 0 sacks. That's a category in which we think we were 10th last week, slid to 13th. We should slide back up in that category for basically keeping Sam Darnold clean. What else are you going to say about Sam Darnold?
I was really impressed with the way that he was able to air it out today.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, Laviska Shenault, Terrace Marshall, they all had respectable games today. And we'll get into those numbers here in a moment. But he threw the ball today with some conviction. Like that first deep ball that he had to Terrace Marshall, we were on him about how, he was a little late on his throws like in the weeks past. There were opportunities where they could stretch the field, but he was just a little bit late on his timing with the receivers. And today it just seemed like everything clicked. I mean, there was a flow. The timing was on point. There was never any hesitation. And you got to give it up to Sam Darnold. Bearded Sam.
Bearded Sam.
for doing what he needs to do to give this team a chance here down the stretch. You got to give it up for him and how he has played here over these past couple of weeks.
Now we're going to go ahead and get into these rushing stats, and there's a lot of records that were set on this rushing part. Deontay Foreman, 21 carries, 165 yards.
Pay that man!
7.9 yard average with running. You know, I put up a stat or a tweet midway through the game.
Yeah.
Like, who was it? Blackshear maybe? Hey, Blackshear, get with it. You're averaging like 3 yards a carry. These guys are averaging like 18. Sam was averaging almost 10. It was just in pure fun. Like, get him out of here. If you can't average 5 yards or more carry, you don't deserve to be on the
against
team.
that Lions defense, right?
Yeah, but it was great. Chuba Hubbard, who had 12 carries, 125 yards, 10.4 average, 35 yards. You know, both of these, I was kind of wondering early on when Chuba came out and he had about 7 yards on that first possession. Is Deontay even going to get in the game? But Steve Wilkes and his post-game press said, yet the reason why Chuba started out, though there's a starter technically, it's just like, who does he want to run the ball on a certain play? And he wanted Chuba to run. And as you know, you have these guys come back out and they have the first combination of 2 running backs since who?
Double trouble, right?
Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. Last time, you know the year?
I think it was on that Monday Nighter in 2008 against Tampa.
2008? I'm not sure.
That's my guess.
2009. Let's see what I have here in my notes. 2009 was the first time, the last time, I should say, we had 2 rushers over 100 yards. Don't tell your age, Andre. But anyway, that was about 15 years ago. We're both mathematicians, so we know it's not exactly 15, but about 15 years ago. So let's talk about, just briefly, because I really want to get to all these comments that are coming, and please continue to leave your comments. And actually, after this stat, I'm going to go ahead and put up the link for you guys to join us on video.
Do it.
We want to hear from you through that way, and then we'll also put some comments. So what was I just talking about? I actually forgot.
So you were talking about the run game and the records that they were setting today.
Right. And what does that say for this team that you just got beat up last week?
They sure
did.
You
had a lot of people just alarmed because you're kind of feeling like, that's what we do to teams.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We just run it and impose our wills, and you don't do that to us, and so you think, man, that looked bad. Even though the score wasn't terrible, I think it was an 8-point loss last week, 16-24. It just it felt really bad.
Yeah.
And this team responded to that, saying like, okay, yeah, we got beat last week, but I'm sure Steve Wilkes had something to do with it as far as the way he talks to these guys and coaches these guys. By the way, footnote, they had a padded practice this week.
This past Wednesday,
right? Wednesday. That was part of what Steve Wilkes did to get these guys, that physicality back. And it was a good thing. We saw results today, but they don't have any more padded practices the rest of the season. So, you'd like to think that, I don't know what you like to think, but you hope that, I don't know.
That the intensity continues, right? The mindset and the intensity continues because they don't have that option anymore. So they have to find a way to manufacture that level of intensity and toughness over these next 2 weeks leading up to the final game of the season, because they're going to need it here, because this is the stretch right here where they have to start performing and start playing some of their best ball, and they have really done that today, and they need that to continue, and they don't want to get complacent with that.
Right. And so I snuck a peek at some of the comments that are coming. They said, J.C. Horn, update, please. We don't have an update. If there's something that breaks, we will. But right now, we just know that he hurt himself. He went into the tent. It was what kind of a wrist?
It was a wrist injury. I believe it was his left wrist, but don't quote me on that.
We don't have to quote you, man. Let's go ahead and continue to talk about these stats from today. Oh, let me go back. So with that, we had one stat that I talked about. There was a first time since 2009 that we had the running backs with the dual running backs with over 100 yards. Struggling to find my notes here. We also had I think I can go off my memory because I'm just that good.
There you go.
The exact numbers. First half was a record. We set a record for first half rushing yards.
240 yards.
That's why he's here. All right, so that was one record. The other record was in total, I think it was called total net yards that we had. So that's rushing, receiving, special teams.
I
right?
believe so. It was like 562 or something crazy like that
that's
today.
For the game.
For the whole game.
But we set a record for the first half. I don't know if we set one for the game. Like it's possible. I didn't have that in my notes. So some very good production. Let's talk about who in the pregame. Andre Cassidy was like, "Hey, DJ Moore, watch out for this guy having a good game. Put him in your fantasy." You said it. What'd you say?
Put him in your fantasy leagues. I guess that was my call to action for DJ Moore today because he has had a pretty good history against Detroit. Every time they played Detroit, he has scored a touchdown in each of the games that he has played against them, and sure enough, he had a touchdown today as well.
He did. I'm going to let you share the stats here today from the receiving side.
So let's take a look. It was a pretty balanced performance today. Really the most balanced that we saw out of the receiving core this whole season. DJ Moore on 7 targets. He had 5 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown.
He had a 47-yarder. That guy good with the big pass.
And I would say on Detroit's part, it's kind of foolish to leave him one-on-one on an island when they sent a 0 blitz to try to get after Sam Darnold, and you just let the middle of the field wide open. So a good game for DJ Moore. Terrace Marshall has been showing some promise and showing some sparks in his performance. 2 catches for 55 yards. He had a big 36-yard catch in the first half, which really opened up the game for Carolina's pass attack. Laviska Shenault really had a great game. As well. Somebody who you just get the ball to, and then boom, he just goes. It's insane.
Yeah, that man. So, I was in Seattle, was it last week?
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
I feel better, so it had to be wild.
Right.
But, when I went there, I was like, man, I wonder what it was like being here when Beast Mode had the famous run where the stadium was shaking, right? I instantly thought about that when Laviska had his catch and run because this guy was just like, excuse me, get out my way. I'm still going to go. And, man, if he had just a hair bit more speed and had to turn that into a touchdown. But as he was doing that, you just felt the crowd just cheering more and started to stand up. And it was cool to watch in person. But again, that made you think, man, what would it have been like, number one, if he had scored?
Right.
And what was it like in Seattle when Beast Mode had that run? But really, really good stuff there with the
literally just injecting energy into that stadium today. It was pretty impressive what he did on that play there.
All right, you ready to talk about this defense?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I guess a few points, but nevertheless, I'll lead and let you comment on it. Shaq Thompson it's really balanced here with the totals on the tackles because normally on the defense there's at least one guy that has double-digit tackles, and we don't have any person that has double-digit tackles. But Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, all leading with 6 tackles. But what I'm going to point out, or I'm going to set up for you, was a few standout guys. For me, I saw, as you hear, though he's at the very bottom, to me he had a really big impact. And what you'll see sometimes with really in any position, you can have games where your stats don't really tell everything that you did because you're able to set the table for your other guys. I'm trying to see what you're saying there. So Brian Burns, even though he didn't have all these stats that popped out, he had 2 sets, but he had the stats here that you're going to look at that he had were significant. And again, I'm going to turn it over to you and to you guys. All right, so we're talking a little bit here, and I want to give you all a chance. We got about 37 more minutes. All right, so you guys got to dedicate at least the last 30 minutes to all your questions. I see them coming. All right, here we go. Get back on track. Defense. So, only had 2 tackles, but he had 2 sacks. He had 2 tackles for a loss. He had a pass deflection. He had 3 quarterback hits. So he filled up the whole stat sheet except for having a touchdown. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 3 quarterback hits. And I'll let you talk about your guy.
That kind of sounded like a 4 for 4 from Wendy's, man. Just get a little bit of this, get a little bit of that, cover all the categories. That was what he was able to do today. But, yeah, one of the guys that I want to focus in on, I said a different name.
You did.
But there was another name that also caught my attention today, too, and it was Xavier Woods. 3 tackles, 3 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections. And I want to specifically talk about that because he had 1 pass deflection where Detroit was about to score. It was 4th and goal within their own red zone, and they were getting pretty close, and they had Carolina reeling, driving down the field, and he had a perfectly timed hit on one of their receivers. I forgot who it was off the top of my head, but it was a perfectly timed hit and kind of just changed the way that Detroit looked at the game because they were thinking, oh, if we get this touchdown here, we could have a realistic chance of potentially trying to make it a 2-possession game down to a 1-possession game. But with that hit, he kind of just took everything away. Like any hope that he had or that Detroit had, any realistic shot of them trying to come back just went away with that one hit that you could hear and feel from all the way up top in the press box. It was quite impressive, the kind of game that he had today.
All right, so we're going to touch on a few more stats. Again, keep those comments coming, and also the links in there. If you want to come on the show, tell us about what you're excited about, share any thoughts. Just scroll up a little bit, and you'll see where I typed the link where you can join and ask your question. So a few more stats, all right? 3rd down conversions. How do you think we did today?
I'll say above 40%.
So the Panthers were 3 for 9, 33%.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions were held to 4 for 12, 33%. So though both of those are equal numbers,
Yeah.
what is good is that we stopped them, and it's not a big disparity on they were getting it and we weren't getting it. So that was pretty good to see. Total net yards, we touched on this a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know about the record part, but we had just 570 yards.
Oh
total
my!
net
Wow.
yards. So that was pretty huge. But here's one where the run game is so effective, and you gotta like it. Time of possession was Carolina Panthers 35, the Detroit Lions 25. 35-25. So about a 10-minute difference on time of possession. And one thing that I want to touch on is how in this game, at first we didn't know what we were going to get at 4 seconds. Like you're feeling like it might be a shootout.
Right.
Right? Because it was like we scored, then
they scored,
and then they were going to score, and then they had a mistake. The Detroit Lions fumbled the ball.
They did.
And we got the ball back. And to me, that was the big turning point in this game. There were some good individual plays. There was DJ Moore doing good, Terrace Marshall doing good. There was lots of good things that happened. But to me, no other point was bigger than that fumble in the red zone got us the ball back. Because to me, if they score, you're still going to be like, uh-oh, who's going to win the high scoring game? I feel like we would have ran out of gas first in that because Jared Goff and his receiving corps have been pretty good. I mean, they still had over 300 yards today. But after that stop on, well, I shouldn't say a stop, but after that turnover, gosh darn, I can't quickly find my notes. But there was, I want to say, off the top of my head, 4, maybe 5 possessions in a row, 3 and out.
Yep.
3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Which you're like, wow, it was just like a complete flip of events once they had that, and we were able to take control, win this game. I feel like in this game overall, a little bit of So I'm going to let you have this mic here for a second while I make a change here. I know
So as we try to figure out what is going on here, the man of the people is, just multi-talented on so many different fronts. But yeah, let's just talk about. They're saying it's good now, I think, but he'll continue to adjust there.
Mic, though. It's coming from the computer.
Yeah. So, but in any event, yeah. So you talk about running out of gas. I think there were um, many pieces of, or many moments in time, especially in that fourth quarter, specifically for Carolina's defense, where they were just giving up big plays. Detroit was trying to come back in the game. And, I was telling Chris about this in the press box, too. It's like whenever, um, Carolina.
You can tell him I just almost killed myself.
I don't know if y'all heard that, but it looked like Chris was tripping over something, but he is okay. But in any event, yeah, I mean, I was telling Chris this. I was like, whenever Carolina's defense is out there for extended periods of time, they do give up big plays. And you saw instances of that take place specifically in the fourth quarter when Detroit was trying to get back in the game. They gave up that touchdown to Shane Zylstra, who had 3 in the game, who happens to be the brother of Brandon Zylstra. Who would have thought about that? It's a family affair for them as well. But yeah, I mean, part of the reason why Carolina's defense started out the way that they did was just because, they were on the field for a good bit of time, but they were able to come back and recover and try to, come back and fix things that, didn't take place in the first quarter, where Detroit was literally able to drive down the field on their first drive and move relatively easily on them. So, when you look at this game as a whole, the offense played well, but it really fed off of their first drive. And I don't think
I'm coming back in a second, guys.
He's doing an amazing job, by the way. But yeah, that first drive was so important for Carolina, right? With that first play to Chuba Hubbard, that first run that went for like 30 or 40 yards, that really did set the tone in the game. It really did, because, for Detroit, they were already on their heels. They're already thinking about, man, is this going to be the tone, and this is going to be what we're going to have to deal with for the rest of the game? And it turned out to be the case, because Carolina put up nearly, 260 yards rushing on Detroit's run defense today. I mean, it was literally within that first drive where they set the tone, and that was key because they needed to have that fast start today. Specifically, when you look at last week's game where they were in a hole, they wanted to be able to start out fast because you don't want to play from behind. And luckily, Carolina had a wire-to-wire victory today.
Yeah, I don't even know what you were just talking about because I was so focused.
Right, you were in the zone over there. But that he knows what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen. That is why he is called the man of the people.
So all that, what he said, and if you're like, what is Andre doing? Like, so why? I knew what happened when the sound went out.
Yeah.
I had to make the change. Can't pause live video, right?
Right.
I almost broke my neck trying to run and step over.
He almost tripped over.
Andre left right by the camera. So you heard it like clunk, clunk, clunk. That was me, pulling a hammy trying to maintain my balance. Let's go ahead. And so I know you guys can hear us still, but here's better than you were a second ago. It's time to go into the comments, right?
Let's do it.
Let's go into the comments. Again, nobody's hit the link to join and come on and ask a question. I don't know why people are being shy, but okay, be shy. Let's go. This back at the beginning. If you missed it,
yes,
Andre was singing "Sweet Carolina."
My rendition of it, if you will.
Yes, his rendition. Kevin Hubbard says Panthers Nation, baby.
Any relation to Chuba Hubbard?
Hey, Chuba. Hey, you notice when was the last time they threw Chuba the ball?
I don't think they did it all today, to be honest with you.
They have finally figured it out. You can keep Chuba on the team, but don't throw Chuba.
He's no Christian McCaffrey when it comes to
No Christian McCaffrey at all. Kevin Hubbard, pressure, burst, pipes, and that's what we did today. Oh, we got some come in.
Okay.
I think this is a guy that was on before, so hopefully you won't hear any feedback. You might, but let's try to.
Yeah, let's pop him in here, right?
See what he has to say. We're gonna.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see.
Hey, Senpai Casey here.
All right.
What's going on, right?
All right, go for it. What you got?
With Sam's performance today, I will shut my mouth about him. I take back run whenever he needs to, and I guess that's just what we need. So I'll just, hush about him until he does his thing. But I'm very pleased with what he did. I'm very pleased with the offensive line today with the rushing yards. What it was 500 on the ground today or something.
All right. So as you see, we're not prepared to go live and take your questions. So I apologize to my man that came on and I had to cut you off, but I didn't think it all the way through, Andre.
There were like 3 different things going on at the same time. There was like some echo, and I was like, what in the world's going on? But I think I kind of made out what he was trying to say there.
Well, but I'm going to let you take that.
Yeah.
Again, I want to apologize. So what happens is we got to have earpieces because that speaker comes and it has all this feedback.
Yeah.
My apologies. I don't think there's a way I can make that work right now to do that.
Right.
So disregard the link. Sincerely apologize for coming on and doing that. Andre said he was able to capture some of what you said, so I'm going to let you have that.
So he was talking a lot about Carolina's ability to run the ball, and I feel like that was something that he was looking for today. Like a lot of us, we were looking to see how does Carolina respond after really getting their own taste of their own medicine after last week's performance. They got out-panthered by the Steelers. So how are they going to respond to that kind of performance? And it just shows you like how different or how much a week can be, how much of a difference it can be in a week to see how they played from one week to the next. And they really knocked it out of the park today with, the ability to run the ball, and that fed into other aspects of their offense. They were able to pass the ball now because of their dominance in the run game. And, they did a really good job of setting the tone early, which was a key. You had to set that tone in order to be able to play the way that they did today. So really just a fantastic job today by the Panthers O-line, and really as a whole unit, like you said, really just a great performance all the way around today by everybody.
And again, my apologies, my man. We're going to do the show again tomorrow, so
you can hop on tomorrow. Yeah, we're looking for you, man.
Go through some more of these comments here. Tyrone Green says, Panthers gave everyone our Christmas presents, a much-needed win. And I said, I'll let you comment.
Right, hey.
I got to step off and cough real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that may be the only Christmas present that I need. I don't know for Chris, but for I mean, I could speak on my behalf when I say that. That was really the only thing I wanted out of today's game was, hey, can we get a win? Can we keep the playoff hopes alive? Is this going to be something that we can continue to keep moving forward with? And sure enough, with the performance of everybody on both ends of the field, this was a gift, and now we need to put a ribbon on top of that gift with a Tampa Bay loss tomorrow night in Arizona.
Yeah, and for me, I go to say congratulations to all these fans that came out here and braved the cold. Like, that is the least that they could do. I think it was just a random person that was handing out free hand warmers to us, or to people as you were coming into the stand.
Like that was going to make a difference.
Hey, we had hot cocoa in the press box. It didn't even last till the game started. So if you were out there braving those elements, the win, congratulations. Hopefully that made it worth your while in coming out here today. Let's go through some more of these comments here. On the ground west.
Yeah.
Ali Broderick. Detroit will have a taste of feet and legs until next week because of the run.
Because they were running all over Detroit's defense. Okay, I like that.
All right. Akeem Hanan, great win today. Great win. Appreciate it. I said appreciate it.
We all appreciate it, right?
Yeah,
we all won today, actually, with how everything went.
It was good. It was good. Justin Carpenter, let's go. That was a surprise. I'm not happy we won. Okay. Hire Wilkes. I'm assuming, Justin, that you're not happy. Do you have an assumption of why?
I would say he's not happy. He's ecstatic. I think that's what he was trying to say in his comment there. But, yeah, great game today. Everybody is in the holiday spirit, and with the Panthers win today, I think it just made things even more happy, the mood all across uptown Charlotte. We'll be seeing that later here once we get out of the building, the vibe and the energy that we'll see all across the city.
Anything. It's cold out. Have my head down, and
we're going to try to get in our car as quick as we can. That's what we're going to do when we get out there.
I think that could be it. He's not happy. He's ecstatic.
Yes.
That's not it. I was going to go and guess that he is not happy because he wants a draft pick.
I can't vibe with those people. It's like you want to win. Like, you only live once, right? You can preach patience all that you want, but to these folks who want to tank, why do you want to tank? We haven't been relevant in 5 years. We haven't been to the playoffs in 6+ years. Don't you want to feel that playoff energy here in Bank of America Stadium? Because, I mean, I know I do.
You play
to win. You play to win, James.
Shouts out
Or
Herb
Justin.
Edwards.
Yeah, excuse me, Justin.
All right, Donna B says Will Smith, that like button. So I think there's a little bit of some maybe in her conversation. But she's saying hit the like button. So hit the like button. What's going on, Rodney? He says what's up to both of us.
What's going on, Rodney?
Another question about J.C. Horn. We kind of touched on him. Big win for the boys. That run game was unstoppable. It really
It sure was.
Yeah.
Took the soul out of Detroit's run defense, that's for sure.
2 block is like it. What's going on?
What's going on, 2 block? Hope you're doing well.
I hope we don't get in trouble for this game that's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be showing live TV, but it's not a major part of what's going on.
Right.
Nevertheless,
we're the focal
Alexa
point, not the
played
game.
Never Stop by Brand New Heavies. That's a good song.
Okay.
You know that one? A little bit of a smooth R&B kind of song. A little happy go.
Happy go, easy going
Yeah, Never Stop.
kind of music, right?
I got you, Donna. Between the two of us, we'll get you guys. Justin, some people may say I'm stupid or crazy, but I think we should keep Sam Darnold and be the start next year and draft a quarterback to sit behind him and keep Corral to battle the quarterback we draft. Man. So
That's quite the hypothetical right
here's
there.
the thing about keeping Sam Darnold, and I'm going to preface this with saying I don't follow the college ranks to say, hey, here's how this class ranks, here's how that other class ranks. But I know they have a big group of talent scouts here at Carolina Panthers, just a few floors below us. And I'm going to say before they would commit to I'm keeping Sam Darnold, I feel like that would have to mean that the quarterback draft class is just not that good. Because that's a position that if you get it right, and especially in the draft, you got franchise success for a long time. And I think, Steve Wilkes gets credit for making the best out of what he has right now. But if he had more, if he had a quarterback that could do better, then he would open up even more things and we'd have even more chance for success. And you don't want to limit your ceiling on how good your team can be because you don't know what other teams are going to do. So Sam's doing absolutely great now. Coach Wilkes is putting his team in a position to win now, but you got to make that quarterback room great. And if the draft gives you the opportunity to do that, I wouldn't just stick with Sam by default.
And part of it, too, is you got to pay him. This is his last year of his contract, so that's the other aspect that you have to worry about, too. I mean, what kind of money is he going to be asking for? But nevertheless, I mean, that's still like months away. Yeah. We're in the here and now. We're celebrating today, ladies and gentlemen, after this wonderful win today.
All right, so Rodney got a comment here, and I believe this. I didn't listen to his postgame because Sam stated that he learned a lot when he wasn't playing and he studied other quarterbacks. It could be, to me, a combination between a coach getting to you like no other coach has. I feel like Steve Wilkes might have that kind of possibility with some of these guys on the roster and how he deals with them. Because Sam has had time to study from other quarterbacks before. And he wasn't looking that good. He had a preseason that wasn't incredible, which is why Baker Mayfield earned a starting spot over him.
Yep.
And then he had the injury, which had him be out for a while. And he's been playing good. He's been playing turnover free. So I'm glad that he has matured. And I'm glad that he does have Steve Wilkes. And we're picking up some games here. So who won the game? I was working. You want to tell Cheryl Vargo who won the game?
Well, I don't know if you could tell based of our body language, but we're pretty jumpy, hippie, moving around. So that kind of means Carolina had a pretty good game today, and they did indeed win today. Pretty satisfactory win today. Fumbling over my words because I'm so excited. But yeah, Carolina won today, if you were wondering.
All right, and then a few comments here. Brad Holt says Wilkes deserves a job as head coach. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yep.
Lonnie Williams says keep pounding.
Yes.
And Tyrone Green, Tepper's playing around like Wilkes hasn't done a good job. One thing about Tepper, he actually hasn't said anything.
He's been pretty quiet.
I don't, unless you guys can prove me wrong, please do, but Tepper hasn't said anything. I saw him out in Seattle, and I wish I had asked him a question Not to say he would have answered, but he hasn't said anything. But my feeling would be that we're going to go ahead and open up this box. I'll let you. You want to lead? You want me to take the lead?
I'll say a little bit, and then I'll turn it back over to you.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be quick with what I say. He hasn't said a whole lot publicly, so in a sense that is kind of a good thing, because if you have to say something publicly to try to hype up somebody, that means something is not clicking or something's not going in the right way. I'm talking about Tepper, yeah, in terms of his opinions on.
He doesn't talk about anybody throughout the season.
Occasionally. I mean, there's moments where he'll address specific things if it's of public interest. But he hasn't said anything publicly as of yet. And I think he won't until the season ends. But, you have to, really give Wilkes credit. He's been 500 through 10 games with the team. He has to be the favorite guy for the job. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be. I mean, look at how they played today. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you could say playing around, because I don't know what you expect Tepper to say in this situation, because they're still in the thick of this thing right now. So it's a lot of we'll wait and see when everything is done, and then we'll go from there.
What's your opinion on it?
On the whole situation, or with Tepper?
Who should be our quarterback in 2023?
The head coach. Head coach. It has to be Wilkes.
So you're going to go with Wilkes?
I'm going to go with Wilkes because, to me, he commands the room. He's very blunt in his assessments. Mm-hmm. He has a history with this team in terms of the successes and also the downfalls. But, he has really, like you said earlier, got a lot out of what he has. But he's also shown that level of, hey, we can come back after games where we did not play our best ball. And I think that's a very unique thing to have as a coach, is to be able to have the attention of the locker room and say, hey, even if we don't have our best game, come back in on Monday, get it right, and get ready for our next opponent. And he has established that tone, which is hard to do. It is hard to do, but he has made it look seamless in his limited time here in Carolina.
Yeah, I'm really – are you done?
I'm done. Yeah,
not to force you to be done quick. I just didn't want to cut you off. Steve Wilkes has done some incredible things, which is what Tepper has said that he needed to do. And he's already done things such as win more games, as we talked about earlier, than the 3 previous seasons. You have ruling here, 5 games, 5 games, 5 games. He's already won 5 games, and his first year has the ability to win his 6th one with 2 games remaining. He's won games back-to-back, which hadn't happened this year. One of those games was on the road that he did.
Yep.
He's beat on more than one occasion. The Coach Rule hadn't had a team that allowed 17 points and still won a game. He's done that. He let go of a phenomenal talent in Christian McCaffrey. And we're setting rushing records almost each week this week.
That still blows my mind how we're able to do that without the probably most talented running back in the NFL. I mean, that's just insane how we've been able to do that.
Yeah, you lose Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't blink. He doesn't flinch. And, again, Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman setting records today. And I forget how many games it is, but I feel like if we've won 5 games, I would safely say about 5 games he's had over 100 yards rushing, which would be league leading. I think I read a stat a couple weeks ago about how league leading he was with his 100-yard game. And so it proves that there's more than one way to be effective. Like Christian McCaffrey, yeah, he's good, but hey, maybe you could get more out of your offensive lineman and say whoever's back there, open up anyway. I think that speaks to why he should continue to coach this team. And as you touched on, he got beat down, not too much score-wise, but just from appearance and how they just ran the ball. And he turns around and he says those guys responded, because I know he was emphatic on it. So I like him to continue to coach this team. I want to get through some more things. Let's see. Andrew made Sam Darnold is so much more than a game manager. Andrew, I know you're a big fan of Sam, so I'm not even going to argue on that one. I'm glad that you like Sam. I'm glad Sam is doing what he is doing.
We're all happy that he's doing well, right?
Brad Wilkes has done more with less than Rule did, which is true. Hey, it took us a while. It took us a while to hear from you.
Hey! It's our guy Shaquille. What's going on, man?
He just got home from the game. He felt like a Panthers. It felt like a Panthers home game today.
Okay.
Shaq, I'm going to say this to that. Like, it was, but if as cold as it was today, if any opposing team took over, that would have been beyond phenomenal because it was freezing. But yes, it was good to see not so many jerseys on the other side.
Yes.
The Lions fumbled at our 7-yard line, completely changed the game, totally played mad today on offense and defense. Let's see. We got Stan that came back here. Didn't see that. Shaquille likes our playoff chances against Tampa Bay. Hold on for 1 second, you all. I'm going to try to see if I can't block this spam user that's comment in the comments right now.
But to just talk about that game, that is going to be such a huge game that I know you're going to have the pleasure in being down in Tampa Bay for. But that is all the marbles. Anything and everything that's on the line, it's going to take place in Tampa Bay in 2023. January 1st, 2023. Save the date, everybody, because that is going to be the most important game that Carolina has had in like 5 or 6 years. I mean, you're going to feel the intensity. I'm already kind of feeling the intensity right now. We're only a week out from the new year. Already, 2023. Can you believe it? But, yeah, I mean, that is going to be the game, I feel like, that's going to determine who comes out of the NFC South.
Mm-hmm. So the spam should be fixed now.
Yeah, get out of here.
Sorry about that. In terms of will the game against Tampa be flexed, they did leave that open. It could be. I forget the exact timeline. I almost feel like it has to already have happened because they would have less than a week. So I'm honestly not crystal clear on the possibilities.
Maybe they say something about it tomorrow.
Today was week 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, week 17 was left open, which would be next week. And yeah, logistically.
Maybe Monday they say something about it.
Yeah, I would.
It's hard to say at this point.
It can't be no later than Monday.
Yeah.
That they would have to say so about that game being flexed to a Sunday night. And it's kind of interesting that it has the possibilities because it is very playoff implications. And
Sure
it's
is.
ironic that it's implications on 2 losing teams, but from the standpoint of must-see TV, I guess it could kind of be like, But anyway, we'll see.
It's only going to be must-see TV because it's Brady trying to fight for the playoffs, I would say. Who knows?
All right, Panthers Journal says they say Horn's wrist is broke. We haven't scoured our resources to see about that, so I don't have any official feedback on that yet. But Andre's gonna check.
I would just say if that were the case, that is just horrible news. But I can't verify it. I'm not seeing anything about that yet. But that would be horrible news if that were the case.
Yeah, so we're seeing some comments about J.C. Horn, and because we are live, it's hard for me to get information in because we're broadcasting live, but I'll let Andre see if he can take a look and get something official. I don't know if the team has said anything yet, even though as you guys come, and usually the team isn't the quickest to...
Nothing official, but they're saying may have or potentially.
Some good sources,
and they're also saying doesn't look good.
Some good sources?
From local outlets. I'll say local outlets. And I want to name drop on here.
Okay.
But we'll say local outlets have been indicating that the injury does not look ideal.
Okay. All right.
But we cannot independently verify that he actually did because he probably is getting some tests
Here's my
to
question,
see.
though. Does that mean he can't play? What they said, it's the wrist or a bone in the hand?
It's a wrist. They're
wrist.
saying it's a wrist.
Look, I see our PR guy walking by, and I want to run and ask him a question, even though I know he won't tell us. But you just want to know, right? What's the latest?
I mean, hey, they probably don't even know yet. They're probably running tests right now to see what's
but
up.
if you're saying people are saying that it's broke, how?
Well, but that's what people are saying. You're not hearing it from doctors and from actual independent sources. They're just saying that because that's what they're hearing.
He could play with a broken what? Finger? Bone in the
Yeah,
hand?
broken finger,
wrist?
but not a wrist. That would be hard to do.
Okay. I'm taking it out.
That would be hard to
I'm taking it
do.
out
I
live
mean,
with you.
yeah, that would. with one hand, I mean, you can't really play with one hand, and be effective.
Numb that joker up. It's already in the cast. All you need to do is put your hands up.
Do we need to shout out Shaq with the icy hot? But nevertheless, we're hoping for the best news, but it's not looking ideal right now regarding J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn. All right, so that's all that we have. Again, apologies for the gentleman that we had to kick off because we had so much feedback and other things going on there. Please hit that like button. We always need to be, if we're not at 100, I don't know about that.
We're going to riot if we don't get 100.
Until we get to 100. But enjoy your Christmas. So I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody that's out there watching. Hope you have a good time and celebrate being with family and just life itself as we get ready for a new year. Hopefully this Carolina, we'll get Christian McCaffrey in the background. Hopefully this Carolina Panthers team will continue to roll. I know it's been a lot of fun.
Yes. Well, if this is the last time, which I don't personally believe it will be because I am rolling with the good vibes and the team and how they've been playing, there could be a realistic shot that we'll be back here in a couple of weeks. But if this is the last time, I want to first start off by thanking all of you. And I don't want to go on. I don't want to go too long because this is not a goodbye, right? But I want to thank all of you, the fans, for just being supportive, for being interactive with me on Twitter. Same thing with Chris as well, for being a good mentor and a good, solid dude. Always being patient with me, especially when it comes to the technical aspect of things. He has been nothing but a joy to work with and just been a good help and a good mentor. And I appreciate everything that you have done for me. So, again, thank you for everything. And to you, too, Chris, and to your family, Merry Christmas, right?
Yes.
So I know we will be hitting the road soon. I'm going to be hitting the road and headed up to Cornelius to go spend time with the fam up there.
Yeah.
We're going to be eating good tomorrow, some filet mignon.
Okay.
We're not going to give out any locations because we only have seven things of filet mignon to cook. So, we got to work with what we got, right? But, yeah, Merry Christmas to all of you. This has been quite a period of time for a lot of people. So for all the blessings that we all have, just be thankful for the things that we do have and all the positive energy that we will get moving forward.
All right. That's it.
I guess so, yeah.
That's it. We're going to sign off. We'll see you not tomorrow.
But on Monday.
Because we usually do it the day after.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that at all on Christmas Day. So we will be back Monday for our Ask Me Your Carolina Panthers question and continue to provide you coverage. For Andre Cassidy, I am Chris Jenkins, both for Charlotte Vibe. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon.
And Merry Christmas.
Am I going to do the Happy New Year?
And a happy